Hi everyone, please tell me if you can hear me so we can start with our lecture discussion. Welcome, by the way. Okay, it's good to know that you guys can hear me. So I'd like to welcome you all to our lecture discussion. So for today, we're going to discuss about chi-square test of association. And this is a guide for beginners. If I have some students here who are under my undergrad class, welcome. I hope, guys, you opened your SPSS already. Although I still have to open mine. Wait lang at buksan natin yung ating SPSS. It's actually open. So yun. So we can start with our discussion. So for the undergrad students, this will be your last topic for statistics, and then after this we're going to have a quick lecture discussion for probability. And then for my graduate school students, after the chi-square test of association, I'm just going to discuss some more non-parametric tests, usually the counterpart of ANOVA, and the non-parametric counterpart of, or the other tests similar to chi-square, okay? Because chi-square is a non-parametric test counterpart of your Pearson R correlation, which we discussed last time. All right, so yeah, I think we have 33 viewers at the moment, so maybe we can start. Just in case you have classmates who are not around, please inform them and tell them to join us here. Okay, so we start with the chi-square test. This is also called chi-square test of independence or Pearson chi-square test. In your SPSS, when the output will be returned in the output window later, you'll notice that it says Pearson chi-square test. So do not confuse this with your Pearson R correlation. This is Pearson chi-square test. So like your Pearson R, it also is used to discover relationship between two variables. But this time, chi-square test requires that the two variables should be categorical variables. If you remember in your um, Pearson R correlation, we also test or discover relationship between two variables, but the variables are continuous variables. Now, for chi-square, categorical variables. Okay, example of categorical variables would be, let's say, male, female, okay, or smokers, non-smokers, pregnant, not pregnant, okay? Employed, unemployed. These are categorical variables. So for example, if you would like to find out if there is, um, say, a relationship between educational attainment and employability, for example, and these are both categories, then if you would like to find out that if you, let's say, have a higher um, educational attainment, are you most likely, will you most likely get a better job, for example? Okay. So you look into the relationship. So these are two categorical variables. Then we can make use of your chi-squares or chi-square test. Categorical variables are variables whose values are categories. Just like in my example kanina, those are examples of categories. Kaya tinawag natin sila na categorical variables. Okay, so those are the things that you need to consider before you can choose chi-square as a test for relationships. Okay, meron tayo dito examples of categorical variables. We have gender. We know that gender is nominal, if you remember. Dun sa ating levels of data measurement, gender or sex, okay, it's nominal. There is no order. Marital status also is nominal. Ano ba yung marital status natin? If you are single, married, widow, or whatever. Then we also have levels of physical activity. These are ordinal. Ordinal are categorical variable. It can be ordered. So, pwede siguro na low level physical activity, average level, high level physical activity. Okay, so they are ordinal. That's why they are categorized under categorical variables. In short, nominal and ordinal variables are categorical variables. Just like in my example earlier, educational attainment, okay, that's ordinal, ano? Kasi may mababa, may mataas, okay? May order sila. And this is, those are examples of categorical variables. So kung ganitong klase ng variable na dalawa, ang gusto nyong kunan kung may relationship o wala, ang pwede natin gamitin dito ay chi-square test. Now, when performing chi-square test of association, you are testing the null hypothesis, H sub O. There is no association or there is no relationship between the two categorical variables. So, you can specify itong two categorical variables. So, for example, there is no relationship, there is no significant relationship. Please do not miss the word significant. Relationship between educational attainment and employability. Siguro, pwede. Kung yung employability natin ay categorical ang kanyang, ay categorical variable siya. Okay? Then, okay, let's have an example. Suppose we are interested in the relationship between education and research publication of faculty members. Okay? Halimbawa, gusto nating makita kung yung matataas pa yung educational attainment nila, marami ba silang napapublish na research? Okay? Or the other way around, kung mababa ba yung educational uh, level of education nila, mas kokonti ba yung research publication ng mga faculty members. So, tignan natin kung may relationship ba yon. Now, what I would like you to do is to open now your SPSS at i-load po natin yung ating file na facultyresearch.sav. Okay? By the way, the data that I'm using here actually is not my data. It's a data from the training manual on applied statistical data analysis for beginners using SPSS from IANS Consultancy Philippines. So we're going to use them. But yung nandun sa module natin, it's a different set of data yung ginamit natin doon. Okay? So I'd like you guys to open now your SPSS. Sandali lang. At i-share natin sa screen yung ating SPSS. Wait lang. At i-share lang natin yung screen. Wait lang. At i-share lang natin yung Okay, I hope you guys can see my screen now. Okay, please let me know if you were able to load or to open your SPSS and load the file facultyresearch.sub. As for me, I'm going to look for that file. Ito, facultyresearch.sub. Okay, so ayun, tinatawag na akong kumain. Baka kayo guys ay gutom na rin dyan. Ano? Okay, so we have here now, we have 2, 4, 6, 6. Tama ba itong na-load natin? Parang hindi yata, no? Okay, let me see. I think I was unable to load the file. There you go. So we have 2 columns, education and research. Now, if you go to variable view, makikita mo na yung for education, dito yung mga values niya. For education, 1 is for BS or BA, 2 is for master's, 3 is for doctorate. Yan yung code natin, 1, 2, and 3. Now, for research, our code 1 is with research publication, 2 means without research publication. So, yan yung ano natin. Gagamitin natin na code. Now, can you tell me guys kung ano ang ating null hypothesis? Okay, will you type our null hypothesis? Ayan, I understand. May mga pumapasok pa. We have John Martin. Okay, andyan pa ba kayo? So, my question is, ano ang ating gagamitin o ano ang ating null hypothesis? 'Di ba? Importante na alam nyo kung paano mag-state ng null hypothesis because that's the one that we are going to test. So, we're not going to perform a test without a null hypothesis because that is the hypothesis that we are going to test. So, can anyone type the null hypothesis? So, si Lorraine, sabi niya, there is no significant changes in the relationship, between education and research publication of faculty members. Siguro, yung changes, tanggalin mo dito. Ano? There is no significant relationship between education and research publication of faculty members. Okay? So, yun. Pwede na yun na null hypothesis natin. Ano? Since in our problem, sabi natin kanina, we would like to find out kung merong kinalaman ba yung education ng mga faculty members doon sa kanilang research publication, whether they were able to publish or not. So, yun yung tinitignan natin dito na relationship. Okay? So, therefore, our null hypothesis should be there is no significant relationship between education and research publication of faculty members. Okay? Tama yung tinype ni Miss Aiza. For the undergrads, kung hindi nyo maintindihan, mag-type lang kayo dyan para i-clarify natin yung mga areas na hindi nyo maintindihan dito. Okay, so in this example, we are interested in the relationship between education and research publication of faculty members. Okay, so titignan natin kung meron ba o wala. Ayan. So, paano ba natin gagawin? So, sa SPSS natin, what we're going to do here is go to analyze, like what we've been doing. Punta tayo sa analyze. Then, non-parametric test. Okay, non-parametric test. Then, legacy dialogues. And then, you will see chi-square. Ayun. This is one way of doing this. Inuulit ko, go to non-parametric tests, and then legacy dialogues, and then you have chi-square. Then you click that, and you enter both variables dito sa ating test variable list. So education, then you also have research. Okay. So ilalagay nyo sila dyan. Let me just check the options. Okay. If you want the descriptives, pwede rin. Gusto nyo makita yung mean. But of course, hindi man natin kailangan yung mean. Or pwede rin yung makita yung frequency. Gusto nyo, you can click descriptive. But in our example, we're not going to click descriptives. Okay? And then once you're done, you click OK and wait for the output window to come out. Okay? So ito, nilagay niya rin pala yung meron pa rin pala yung ating frequencies. Okay? Ibig sabihin nitong frequency, yung BSBA, there are 60 respondents, masters 40, doctorate 20 for a total of 120 samples. Okay? So, titignan natin ngayon dito, what we are interested in is this test statistics. Tignan natin dito, for education, ayan, ang kanilang p-value is 0.00. So we were able to get a p-value that is 0.00. Pareho lang yung value nito kasi kinuha lang natin yung relationship nila. Okay. So we have 0.00, 0.00. So ano ang magiging decision natin? Are we going to reject the null hypothesis or we will not reject the null hypothesis? Anyone? Yeah, we're going to reject the null hypothesis because our p-value is less than 0.05. So that's right, Unica and Lorraine. Ayun. Now, there is another way. Yes, Isa, reject. That's correct. So we're going to reject, meaning if we're going to reject the null hypothesis, there is a significant relationship between the two variables. Now, another way of performing your chi-square test is using this method. Okay, we go to analyze. Okay, Harvey, that's also correct. Vanessa, Marivic, Eliza. Okay, tama. We're going to reject the null hypothesis. So our conclusion is there is no significant difference between the two variables. Okay, you can specify the two variables. Achievement, educational achievement, and research publication. Now, another way of performing um, the chi-square test in your SPSS is by going to analyze. Try nyo rin ulit, guys. Then we have descriptives, and then you can have crosstabs. Okay, you can have crosstabs, and then click crosstabs. You have rows, so it doesn't matter kung ano ilalagay nyo dyan. Rows, education. You can have columns, research, or balikta rin pwede. And then go to statistics and click chi-square. You click chi-square. Okay? Then continue. Then click OK. So this is what will appear. Ayan. So this is what will appear. Now, tignan nyo dito, yung count natin, mas maganda siya kasi yung BSBA na with research ay 3, makikita mo rito. Yung BSBA na without research is 57 out of the 60. For masters, 6 merong research, 34 without research. For doctorate, 13 with research, 7 without research. Okay? So we have 98 respondents na walang research, 22 respondents ang merong research. So dito tayo ngayon magfo-focus sa last table. Nakalagay dyan, Pearson chi-square. The value is 36.512. That's the value of the chi-square. And then we have the p-value here, which is 0.00, which is the same dun sa nakuha natin kanina. So when I am performing chi-square test, I use this one, itong pangalawang method. Okay? So ito, makukuha natin kasi yung p-value, and at the same time, meron ka pang likelihood ratio. Then you also have linear by linear association. Okay? So tatlong iba't ibang klase ng test, all of them will test the relationship. Okay, so yun. So ano itong likelihood ratio? Itong likelihood ratio is a counterpart of the Pearson R squared na ginagamit natin if the preferred sample size is small. Konti yung ating sample size. Okay, let's say less than 30 lang yung sample size natin. Then you can make use of the likelihood ratio instead of the Pearson chi-square. Now, if you use the second method, it will both return the value of the Pearson chi-square and the likelihood ratio already. But in our case, we have 120 respondents. I think this is not a small sample size. This is a large sample size already, so we can make use of the Pearson chi-square test. And we know that the p-value here is 0.00. Okay? Ang p-value natin dito ay 0.00. So, the same, we are going to reject the null hypothesis. And our conclusion is that there is a significant relationship between the education and the research publication of the faculty. Okay? So yon. Were you guys able to perform the test using that step? Yung pupunta tayo sa descriptives. Okay, sorry guys. Napatay ko pala yung audio ko. Ayan. Balikan natin. So we proceed to the likelihood ratio. Sorry. Thank you, Irene, Lorraine, and Eunice, for letting me know. Pinatay ko kasi pala. Ayun. Tinawag kasi ako ng nanay ko na kumain. So, medyo nag-mute ako kanina. Alright, anyway, inuulit ko lang, for likelihood ratio, ito yung alternative for chi-square test. Can you guys hear me now? Yeah, I think you can hear me now. Meron na. Okay, so going back, likelihood ratio is an alternative to chi-square test. So for large sample sizes, the likelihood ratio is roughly the same with the Pearson's chi-square, but they differ for small samples. So pag malaki yung ating sample size, guys, halos pareho lang yung Pearson chi-square test natin tsaka yung ating LR or likelihood ratio. Now, tignan natin dito sa example natin, ang value ng Pearson chi-square ay 36.51. Likelihood ratio is 30.802. So halos magkadikit lang yung halos the same, ano? Yung kanilang value dito. And the p-value is actually the same. It's 0.00, 0.000. Okay? So halos pareho sila. Although 120 lang yung sample size natin, this is already considerably large. Ano? Pero kung dadagdagan mo pa yan, gain mong 3, 4, 500, mas malapit yung magiging values ng ating Pearson chi-square tsaka likelihood ratio. But in our example, pareho yung kanilang p-value. So pareho yung magiging decision natin. Okay? Dahil malaki nga yung sample natin, which is 120. Now, if you have a smaller sample size, like what I said, siguro less than 30, if we consider that as a small sample size, then mas preferred gamitin ang likelihood ratio over your Pearson chi-square test. Ayun, kasi ang LR is for small sample sizes. But, like what I said, pareho silang, they both test the relationship between two categorical variables. So, when I say between two categorical variables, pwedeng nominal versus nominal. Anong tawag dito sa isa? Yeah, I think I forgot kung ano yung tawag ko. So, basta yung dalawang yon, ano? So, pwedeng alternate yung kanilang pairing. Okay, ordinal, yeah. Ordinal versus ordinal, and then nominal versus ordinal, pwede rin. Kagamitan natin sila ng chi-square or likelihood ratio depending on the number of samples, okay, to be tested. Okay? So, yun yung likelihood ratio na tinatawag natin. It's an alternative to chi-square test, and both of them are non-parametric tests. Okay, so yeah, I think that's it for this discussion. So that's the only reason why I went live today, to discuss that for my grad school students. I'm going to uh, notify you of the exam. May exam tayo next week, Same is true with the undergrad students. We're going to have an exam purely on hypothesis testing, okay? And yeah, konti na lang yung matitira na topic for graduate school. I think last two topics. Next time hindi na kayo magsasama, no? Kasi magkaiba na. For the undergrad, ang i-discuss na sa kanila ay probability. Sa graduate school ay mga non-parametric alternatives. ng ANOVA and other tests na puwede sa kanila. So, yun na lang yung magiging and then tapos na. Magkakaroon na ng another exam. So, ganun lang yung mangyayari doon. For I do not know if we can have the exam via Schoology kasi, hindi yata multiple choice yung test natin dito. So, kung hindi puwede ise-send ko sa group chat natin and then I'll give you time like 24 hours to finish that and submit it online also sa GC din. Okay? So, ganun na lang yung gagawin natin kasi mahirap na gawing multiple choice test ito. Puwede rin gawing essay pero yun, tignan natin. I'll let you know. Okay? So, do you guys have questions? May tanong po ba kayo? Okay. Si Irene, sino si Irene? Undergrad ba si Irene Robles? Irene Rose Oblea? Hi, Sir Alan Alvaro. Ayan, si Sir Alan Alvaro, teacher siya ng Reina Mercedes Vocational. Nanonood din pala siya sa atin. Thank you for the support, Sir Alan. Sino yung nagtatanong ng ano, ng next meeting? Grad school. We can have our next meeting again on Saturday or this week siguro after work. Pwede. Para matapos na tayo at wala na kayong alalahanin at ang gagawin niyo na lang ay yung mga requirement ninyo. Okay, if you like that, ano? Puwedeng gano'n ang gagawin natin. Thank you, Sir Alan Alvaro, for watching. Parang fine-flex mo lang, Sir Alan, na ano, naka-wifi ka diyan sa school ninyo. Yun, kaya ka nakakapanood ng live natin. Okay, any other question kung meron pa? Right, so just wait for my announcement, guys, kung ano ang next na gagawin ninyo, especially for your exam, okay? Alright, so I think that's it for today. I'm sure gutom na kayo. Medyo mabilis lang ang ating live ngayon. It's just like 30 minutes only. So thank you so much, guys. Enjoy the weekend, and I'll see you next week. Please inform, by the way, those who are not around to please watch this video para alam nila yung gagawin nila because you're going to have your exam on Monday or Tuesday. Thanks, guys. Huwag muna kayong mag-ano, lalabas-labas. Bawal muna mag-resort. Alam ko marami sa inyo pumupunta sa mga resorts. Huwag muna. Thank you, guys. You're welcome.